Welcome to the MLB Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by PlayPicks and TheLines.com. I'm your host tonight, Nate Weitzer on the East Coast, here with Midwest Mo, our baseball expert and lead writer at TheLines.com. It's just the two of us for this week as Josh Lander is out in California about to get married, so we will be off next week. Mo and Nicole Russo will be bringing you MLB episodes, though, each and every weeknight. And as always, we're going to bring you night games so that you have time to get these videos up before the games start. Tonight, we have a full slate on Friday, of course, so plenty of games to choose from. Please like and subscribe to the page so you'll never miss a beat here as we continue to bring you videos each and every weekday. Check out all the written content at PlayPicksandTheLines.com. And if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to FTPicks.com or DKPicks.com. Find all those listings in your local area, such as what we have tonight here. And it starts with the Reds minus 108 at Pittsburgh. The Brewers are minus 130 at Miami. We said it might be the first 6-run total we've seen all season as Corbin Burns and Pablo Lopez tangle there. Astros minus 150 at Washington. O's plus 120 at Detroit. Blue Jays minus 120 at Tampa. The Mariners are plus 190 at Scherzer and the Mets. Darvish and the Pods plus 125 at the Braves. The Red Sox even money at Rangers. Guardians plus 140 at Twins. We got Yanks minus 165 at White Sox. Giants minus 120 at Cards. Royals plus 120 at Coors. Cubs in a toss-up at Arizona. Angels minus 140 at Oakland. And Phillies plus 190 at Kershaw and the Dodgers. So with just me and Mo here, we're going lightning round here. We're going to go through a bunch of games, bring you our picks. I'll start with my take. My top take here is Toronto at Tampa Bay and just riding Kevin Gausman, who's been just elite this year with a 2.12 Sierra. His hard hit rate has actually dropped precipitously in his last two starts. So that was kind of the only red flag, and now it's down to 29%. Still posting a 71% first strike rate and then getting a 19% swinging strike rate and lots of swings outside the zone with that dirty slider. He goes up against Drew Rasmussen, who's probably going to go 4 or 5 innings maybe for the Rays here. Turning it over to that Rays pen, which I don't know if it's just the rest of the league kind of catching up to the Rays approach with all these openers and all these guys trying to go multiple in the middle innings here, but they just have a league average ERA now, a league average ground ball rate just does the Tampa bullpen. It's not really that lights out thing we've seen in the past couple of years. So, and I think the Jays can get to Rasmussen early. So far as 237 BABIP seems a bit fortunate. He's given up a 43% hard hit rate and it was 50% last year. And he's not throwing strikes initially, right? 58% first strike rate is down 10% from last year. So combination of those factors leads me to think Gausman and the Jays get an early lead here. So if you don't want to take the money line at minus 120, maybe that first half money line does make sense. But I think that the Rays bullpen is no longer something to be feared so much that you don't think Toronto can score late in the later innings, even if they're not ahead.
Yeah, I wonder about the Rays pen. One thing I wonder is like how some of these position players get factored into that. I'd be curious about that because they have had a few like total 12-run blow-ups where they just have Brett Phillips go out there and throw BP. So I do wonder how that counts against them. But yeah, I'm also interested in Toronto around minus 120. It's pretty close. Like I think if you wake up in the morning and then the line's minus 130, I wouldn't probably bet it. But yeah, I gotta admit I am tempted by Gausman, just how unbelievably dominant he's been. We've talked about it several times on the pod. Just can't really pitch any better than Gausman's been pitching. And while Rasmussen's been solid, you definitely brought up the biggest point here. He's just not going to give the same sort of length that Gausman can offer. So it just opens up more room for middle relief blow up here. Because I just don't see him going really more than 5 innings, and his ERA has been a little lucky so far as well. He's definitely a solid pitcher. I think he's a little above average, but subpar called strike plus whiff rate so far, and not the best exit velocities dating back to the last season. So I think when batters do get a hold of the ball, they can make good contact. And at some point, the Jays offense is going to start clicking. I would hope. So far, they have not been on Tampa Bay's level, but I got to think with the talent they have that's going to change at some point. They have been very unclutch and suffered from poor sequencing, and that sort of thing should normalize. And just their talent level is obviously really high. So on paper, this was probably the best offense in baseball, maybe second to the Dodgers coming into this season. So it's hard to believe that they're going to keep scuffling as bad as they've been. So I do have some interest in Toronto. If you can get a good price, not too far above even money.
Yeah, it's time to expect some positive regression, I think, from those bets in Toronto. And another game we really like, Yankees at White Sox. You wanted to pick on Vince Velasquez last night, and he was pushed back a day here with Dylan Cease going on Thursday night. Now he goes up against Garrett Cole, almost a sacrificial lamb from the White Sox, because Cole is starting to look elite again. I mean, his velocity never really went anywhere, but his control is back after walking 5 in a really ugly start against Detroit. His last 3 now, he has a .47 ERA, 25 Ks, 4 walks. The last time he faced the White Sox in May last year, 7 scoreless innings with 7 Ks. This year is a career low 19.7% hard contact rate and a 6.5% barrel rate. So it really is just the walks that have kind of burned him. As long as he pitches to contact, he should let his great stuff do the job. And Velasquez, talk about getting contact. I mean, 35% ground ball rate in his career, 35.8% hard contact rate. So it's more likely than not that guys are going to put it on the line against him. His barrel rate has climbed almost every year. Now it's 13% this year. And also, struggling to get ahead in the count with a low first strike rate, low zone rate. Nobody really chasing his pitches outside the zone. So the fact that he has a home run to fly ball ratio under 10% thus far seems lucky. That could change. The Yankees could light him up as they're in a slugfest right now with the White Sox as we speak. So over 4.5 runs is pretty much even money for the Yanks if you don't want to take that -160. Interesting that they're pretty much even money on the run line as well with Cole on the mound. I don't mind either of those bets, though. I think they could easily win this by multiple runs.
Yeah, I have the money line highlighted around -165 right now, but with the Yankees being the better team and on the road and facing a poor pitcher, I don't bet too many run lines, but this would be a decent spot for it, I think. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else to say at this point. 3 straight days I've talked about how I want to keep fading Velasquez. So I think everybody knows that I don't respect his talent level and don't think he's going to keep pitching to a 3.97 ERA, while his estimators are a decent bit higher, if not a lot higher. It just depends on which one you're looking at. So yeah, like you said, Garrett Cole doing his normal elite stuff, and Yankees offense crushing despite a high chase rate. And I do think, even though both of these teams would have probably been pegged as top 5 bullpens coming into the season, I do think the Yankees are a tier above, maybe just because of health right now. I'm not really sure, but the White Sox have not been quite as airtight as I thought they were going to be. Chapman and Hendricks, I think you would have to say they're both in the top tier of closers, but it just the setup crew has just been so much better for the Yankees. So I think if either one of these starters runs into trouble, obviously Velasquez is more likely, but if Garrett Cole were to run into trouble, it's definitely not the end of the world for the Yankees, just because their middle relief has been so incredible. Ball for the White Sox, I think it would be very, very bad if Velasquez reverts to old Velasquez.
Yeah, especially if they're in extra innings tonight, which we could be headed that way. Those bullpens could be short, and the Yankees, they have the best bullpen according to several metrics so far this season, any league considered. So looking at the Giants, -120 as well at St. Louis. Total is 7.5 runs with Jordan Hicks expected to open. Starting to go a little bit longer For the Cardinals, he went 4 innings in 3 innings in his last two. Coincidentally, against the Giants, allowed 2 inherited runners to score. Cardinals held on for a 3-2 win, but I'm less than impressed with their bullpen, which is 8th in ERA, but 28th in K per 9 ratio, not getting the whiffs you might need to put away a Giants team that could rally late or in the middle innings since Hicks is not going to go that deep. And I think we all know what Logan Webb can do based on the last couple of postseasons. And it's interesting that he has a 350 BABIP so far when he's getting the highest outside zone swing rate. Still a very high swinging strike rate. He's barely throwing his fastball at all, instead throwing almost all sliders and changeups, and not really getting anything barreled up. So I trust him to go kind of deep and give us a quality start here for the Giants. So that's why I kind of really like the under here, even though I am kind of saying I don't necessarily trust the Cardinals bullpen that much. They have a great defense. They're obviously a great organization that will be able to keep this game down, and they've gone under very consistently lately, the Giants as well. So I think that might be the play here, if not just backing Logan Webb and the Giants.
Yeah, I like that look a little bit too. Jordan Hicks, he's getting an absolutely disgusting number of grounders. I mean, both of these guys are just absolute ground ball machines, but Jordan Hicks is maybe even on another level. And yeah, as far as Webb goes, it's like you said, I'm looking over his peripherals. I can't find anything that tells me he's not doing exactly what he was last year. I think he's just getting BABIP to death so far. Like even his Ks per 9, which has dropped quite a bit. I'm looking at his like strikeout peripherals and they all look really normal. So a drop in swinging strikes, but it's not that huge. And I think he still looks like an ace. I'm guessing he's still an ace. And if he's still an ace, then I like Giants around -120 here. I think the line should be a little bit higher here. I think I just don't trust the middle relief again here of the Cardinals. Just a lot of middling stats when I'm looking over. Just like an average FIP. K minus BB percent is not very good either. It's actually subpar. I think Helsley's kind of like their only really, really good reliever. The other ones are just league average types. And yeah, I think the Giants with Webb just probably still pitching like an ace. And the Cardinals offense has been really kind of cold lately. So they had that 10-run blow up the other day, but other than that, I mean, that was just against god awful Orioles. And other than that, they've really, really had a lot of stinkers after they started the season kind of hot. So, I'm wondering if it's just like a top heavy lineup here with kind of Goldie and Arenado. And yeah, I think the Giants should be more like -130 here. So I do think there's a little bit of value around -120.
Mm-hmm. Two great teams going at it. And now we'll get to our long shot picks of this Friday. I mean, you're not really getting long shot odds because the Reds are going up against the Pirates, who are equally terrible. But I do kind of like the Reds with Tyler Mahle on the mound. We talked about it last week that he's definitely better than his ERA would suggest at 6.46. His xERA is about half of that. Also a guy who has a high BABIP early in the season, but a very low barrel rate. And he's owned the Pirates in last 8 against them, 4-1 with a 2.93 ERA. Mitch Keller on the other side also is much better than his ERA would suggest, but he's not in the zone too much. A little more erratic, a little higher home run to fly ball ratio, and the Reds are kind of getting that, there's something in the water there where they've been called such a disgrace or such a tanking team that the guys who are in the lineup are coming out swinging and they've been putting up runs. So I would back the Reds here at even money.
I never understood how the Reds could play as bad as they were playing. I didn't think they were a good team. I didn't even think they were an average team, but I definitely did not think they were apocalyptically bad like they were playing. So it doesn't really surprise me that they're playing better now. As far as this game goes, I've been a fan of Mahle. He's won me some units for sure the last couple of years. But I do have to say Mitch Keller is pitching better, and he's kind of always been a guy who looked like he deserved better than his results. And this year, his peripherals are much better, even. So, like, his year is kind of right around 4. I think Mitch Keller might have turned a corner here. So I'm a little bit interested in the under. When we were first talking about this, it was 7.5. And I'm seeing a little bit of movement to the over here. It's up to 8 on DraftKings where I'm looking right now. If you can get under an 8, I think that's probably playable.
Yeah, and I know the last game you liked was the Phillies at plus 190 going up against Clayton Kershaw. And I know they're with Kyle Gibson going for the Phils. They're getting to Tyler Anderson right now, paying off at that pick we had last night. And you want to ride them again?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on the Phillies again. Always scary to fade the Dodgers, but especially, man, Kershaw's been unbelievable. I can't believe he can still do what he's doing, throwing a 90-mile-per-hour heater, and it's just not mattering. But I don't know. I guess I just need to get on board the Kyle Gibson train now. I don't understand how he's not worse than this, but how many more times does he have to come out and have a dominant or at least very good outing before? I have to admit, he's like pitching pretty well. So if he keeps that up, then this line is just way, way too high. I mean, Kershaw is great. The Dodgers are great, but I just can't see them being over 2-1 favorites here. So I got to take the Phillies down to, like, I would say plus 175 or so. It's probably good value.
Yeah, Dodgers are great, but the Phillies are for real too. And they have a loaded lineup just like the Dodgers. So, yeah.
Pounding the baseball tonight, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. And that is all the time we have for you for this one. As always, please like and subscribe to the page and look for these episodes every weekday. As I mentioned, Nicole Russo will be on board next week with Mo, bringing you game videos every single day. And until we see you next, happy betting.